we're not talking about concrete solutions now, so I'm not sure if I should elaborate anything more, but it should be a common space where they would be together.
Like what you see here.
Yeah, examples of this.
And some question from the studio now? Okay, the experts can ask or elaborate.
Tired.
So yes, thank you for this scenario. Actually, my question was again about this communication, and just to clarify, you're thinking about like the actual physical communication, not the communication through social media or forums or something like that.
And it doesn't help.
Okay, we can give a small insight, I think, about our maybe we can share a small insight. It was just the first idea we had, but you can look at this house as some kind of multifunctional building where all different areas are. And so you have your private area because it is really important for people, so you have your own secure area. But for example, you can think of working spaces in the building where inhabitants can work or where other people can work. And just as that, for example, you can have this garden environment in the building, on the building, where you can grow your vegetables and where you can grow your food. And I think that can be some kind of platform where you can share stuff with each other, so that it's really about the real life sharing, not about digital sharing. That's an answer to your question.
Do we have an extra question from
no, just one question. So you are taking already into account very different type of households, but there's other needs of other households. For example, you have the speaker or the single people. Will they have a role also in your view?
Well, this is something that we do need to take into account. Right now, we don't have an ultimate solution, but this is the problem which we're going to be facing. So, yes.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. A big applause for you. And now we're going to summarize and conclude this part of the exercise. We have a final team that will be a bunch of people in the studio presenting the future scenario of Building 2025. Well,
Wow.
Hello and good evening, and welcome to the future. The future? Yes, the future. We're going to show you how the future will look like in Rotterdam. We're looking at a typical social housing environment right here. And as you can see, houses are still in urban areas because people will live in urban areas. As you can also see, there will be green areas mixed with housing. And if we look at who is going to live in those social housings, you can see that people are enjoying themselves, sporting out, even though they're pretty old. At the same time, you can see other people, young couples moving in, looking very happy about moving in. The other spot, you can see that people are practicing yoga, and not on their own, they're doing it together. So there are communities that can teach each other sports, for example yoga, and enjoy their company. It's also a social aspect to it. Another important thing that we will see in the future is that people will not only share knowledge with each other, but also do a lot of things with each other and make a lot of things themselves. So it's a do-it-yourself society that we're moving into, as you can see right now. And it's not about getting new things, it's about making new things that you really need. And the whole, what is that about?
Yeah, as I already mentioned, it's not about that the community does new things and creates new things. It's all about sharing these new things and even more things, just sharing economy.
Thank you, Peter.
And this also goes not about sharing things that you could use in the house, but also sharing the means to communicate outside the house with the environment in the city or even farther away. It means allocating space to share means of moving, like car, if it be electric cars, wherever, or closer distances with bikes. Thank you.
Okay, and then of course you're wondering what are people going to eat in the future. We thought about it, don't worry. How long is it?
It's a very
Yes.
complicated structure.
Yes.
So food is very important in our community, and
it's integrated in our buildings, and it's multifunctional, so maybe it's not just for food production, but it's also like a space for communication and learning, and also maybe even some kind of biorefinery or small energy, micro energy production. And so after we have some food, we are cooking together again in the community allocated areas, and if we are very successful in gardening, we have some extra things that we can exchange or sell and have some little income.
Right, thank you, fruit expert. So as you can see, it's all about sharing and caring. But you might still wonder, what does a house like that look like? And it happens that we have made a model. And as you can see, in this model, what can we see in this model?
So we have a system which is energy autonomous. The building is using wind power to allocate energy for all the inhabitants. We also have a green facade. We are using this green facade to grow the food we eat in the building, and we also are using this facade to purify some water that we are also drinking in the building. We also have some very multifunctional sensing station. We can measure temperature, wind speed, wind direction, rainfall, moisture, and especially we are sharing these measurements with not only with the community within the building, but with everyone which is passing through this street. And this is creating some responsibility, because everyone is looking how much energy is the building spending, but also, how much energy is saving. So all the people living in this building is really responsible about the consumption they do of energy and food, and also the waste they are producing.
That's a wrap. And maybe we want to hear something from the experts. I got an extra microphone for you.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's kind, Mr. Thank you very much for the extra microphone. That's good to have a lot of people in the studio. So thank you very much for this scenario. I have one question, because you really have a nice vision of incorporating all these things in a building, and I think that could be a nice place to live. But do you see that this is possible in existing buildings, or you think you will need new, or you think you need more of the urban space? Have you thought exactly how this can work?
So the design was done actually by an architect. She knows the technology, and she knows the resources that are there in the market. She just used all those techniques in the building we are presenting here. So yes, it is possible.
Thank you.
Yes, so short answer is yes, we're using the existing building, and we have a super expert architect that's going to make it super cool,
Awesome.
as you can see.
Who is that one? Who is that architect?
Fred.
But you can make it today, but we can give you a contact details.
Well, I'm really buying this idea. It has a cat. But my question, so from the technology point of view, you are using all the technology that already exists, and that's fine. In 10 years you can use it. But what about all the social connections? Do you think it's possible that in 10 years, because 20, 25 sounds like in a long-term goal, but it's only 10 years. Do you think all that will be possible?
Well, probably not with the whole society, but it could be built with some first start off with some example, and then as things would work, like be adopted for more and more people, like making policies so this will facilitate this type of optimizing things.
Yeah, besides, you already have some apps and the devices that you connect to your tennis shoes, and then you are sharing to all your peers how many kilometers are you running every day. So we think this can be used in for energy savings. So every person living in this building will be sharing their consumption data. So there is kind of a social pressure towards a more consciousness on the consumption.
Positive social pressure. Yeah, that's a cool thing to do.
Thank you very much for this inspiring presentation. It was really great. Big applause for the team. Thanks a lot. Just to close this interesting session on TV, we are already 25 minutes on TV. It's quite expensive. We would like to thank you, the group of experts. A big applause for them, please. And we're going to South America to close the event, and to Germany and Mexico and Greece to do a proper way. Muchas gracias por la atención prestada. Cerramos a las 9:10 de la mañana en Colombia. En Berlín son las... What time is in Berlin?
20:14 Uhr. Wir schließen die Tagesschau heute mit einem Blick in die Zukunft.
And in Greece, I think they have more or less the same time here.
Actually, it's 1 hour ahead, so it's like 2 o'clock now. Οπότε ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ που ήσασταν μαζί μας και καλή σας όρεξη.
Mexico too?
No sé qué hora es, pero ahora díganos.
Okay, thank you very much. A big applause for us. We will have lunch.